In my darkness Jesus found me, touched my eyes and made me see.
Broke sin's chains that long had bound me,
Gave me life and liberty. O glorious love of Christ, my Lord divine, that made him stoop to save a soul like mine. Through all my days and
Good afternoon. Today I've decided to do a Bible review of a couple of Bibles I received, and it's beautiful. I mean, these are premium Bibles in the premium Bible market, and these are the Schyuler Canterbury wide margin. First, obviously, well, not obviously, but last year I purchased over here the Schyuler Canterbury in Imperial Blue. And I really liked it. It's like, in goat skin. Oh, there's some notes there. Probably doesn't do it justice. It's been written in that. So this is the Schyuler Canterbury. And as you see here, just to give you a little bit of an idea, the original Schyuler Canterbury, obviously it's not wide margin as you look around here, has an 11-point Milo font, 36 GSM paper. When you feel it, it's obviously it's quite opaque, very minimal ghosting here, and but there's a sheen to this paper, and I'm going to get to that a little bit later. That the Canterbury, and I really like this. But I'm one that likes to take notes in my Bible. And I was really looking forward to when Schyuler announced, or Evangelical Bible announced, that they're going to produce the Schyuler Canterbury and wide margin. And I have other wide margin Bibles. I have here, I'll show you. Here's my first wide margin I purchased 13 years ago. This is a Cambridge Concord. Now you can see it's really it's gone through the mill here. So I like to take notes in that. Or maybe I'll probably compare it eventually. Here's the Concord and goat skin. Still the same thing. And I've got some outlines and some things in there. But anyway, so just to give you an idea, here's the Concord. So let's, you can see it. So there's, right here, it's a Schyuler, and here's the Concord on top of it. Alright. So the two colors I have, I'm going to review the antique marble brown. I'm just going to go through it, but here, when I ordered them back in June, late June, when the first pre-orders went through or were advertised, I had an email sent to me because I was on the emailing list, or put it on the email list for it. So I decided, I'm going to order two. I had custom imprinting here, or embossing rather. Is that what it is? Yeah, imprinting. And I decided I'm going to order the slate, which was red under silver. And the antique marble brown. Now, when you look on the website, evangelicalbible.com website, the antique marble has more of a red look, but that's actually more of it's definitely a brown. And you can see, I guess, it's a little. You could tell you can see it's very grainy and whatnot. So these are beautiful Bibles, and I'm really happy with what I've seen. Obviously. The font's a bit smaller. Let me just put this down here. All right. So here is the Schyuler wide margin and antique marble brown. So to give you a little bit of a look here, I'll try to see. Here's this. Got raised hubs. I don't know if it comes through nicely, but it's raised hubs there. Holy Bible, King James Version, got the Schyuler symbol down there. What I like about these, and these are 3-inch ribbons, and you get 3 of them. But with the antique marble, you got which, you know, I mean, I would have been just happy with this kind of yellow colored, or I guess yellow gold colored rather, ribbon. But they've come in, you know, it's kind of a rainbow here. You got green, kind of a, you know, like a purple, and gold, and I really like that. Here in the slate, you got 3 red, and then you notice here, and they're really, you know, the 3/8 inch as opposed to the 1/4 inch. You know, my Cambridge Concord here had 1/4 inch, and this is one thing I don't like about these ribbons. They only come with 2. Is that it doesn't take, after a short while, they start to kind of shrivel up in that. You know, and I think the 3/8, it doesn't do that with the 3/8 of an inch ribbon. Now, if you look at the original, the Canterbury that I purchased last year, if you notice, like these, it's kind of like cornered off here. The ribbons, but if you look over here, it's kind of flattened down there, and I kind of like this. It kind of reminds me of RLL. Probably will keep this. Here's an RLL in here. This is the Clarendon wide margin. You see that 3 blue there. Just to give you a little bit of a comparison. By the way, it's a semi-app. Look at that, beautiful. Yeah, it's a semi-app, so it does hang over a bit. And here, well, here's the Clarendon wide margin. Let's see, look at that. So both are beautiful. Both are absolutely, look at that. Look at this. But when you compare the two, look at that. Yeah, so I was going to use this in here. I'm going to do a separate review, I think, on that one at some point. So they're just getting down to it. So there you go. That's that. All right, but just to show it's nuts there. It's an 8-point clear font. All right. So we open it up. Here we go. Gold skin, genuine leather. It's nice thick leather. See that? Pick it up. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a. So it's a brown. Here, if you look at the slate, it's red in there. Both are beautiful. And I believe it's glued to, oh no, it is stitched down here. So it is, the liner is stitched down as opposed to glue. Alright, as we open it up now. Now, before I open it up, actually, I'd like to add, if you go on their website, evangelicalbible.com, you'll find that these are available in goatskin. They're available in black, slate, which I have here, antique marble, the 2 that I have, imperial goatskin, which comes with a blue under gold, and green goatskin, which is a red under gold, and then firebrick red, which is blue under silver. And then you can, there is a calfskin option in black, but the calfskin option does not have the semi-app that this has. At least I don't think so. I have to go check, but I don't think so. All right. We're going to go through it here. So as you open it up, you got the presentation page. Got marriages, marriages, births, deaths. I mean, to me, again, when we're reviewing the aesthetics of a Bible, it really becomes subjective, you know. So it's really in the eye of the beholder. I guess craftsmanship, it can be a little bit more objective. You know, obviously craftsmanship, you can see it's Smith sewn. Oh, here, let's go look at it over before I go through it. Smith sewn. You know, this is really, they're made to last a lifetime, these Bibles, and obviously, you know, they're really, I mean, even though they're handcrafted, they're really made with a lot of love and care. If we go through it, you know, look at the first page here, Holy Bible. Holy Bible, Authorized King James, Schyuler Bibles, wide margin, you know, Canterbury down there. Published by Schyuler Publishers, Virginia, USA, the website. Here is the copyright. Again, no, obviously the text block is, the King James text is not copyright, but obviously the layout and the format and the block and all that is. As you see, it's printed and bound by Youngblood, BV in the Netherlands, or Royal Youngblood. So it's it's printed and bound. I think even the RLL is the same thing. The typesetting is really exclusive to Schyuler, and it's by 2K/Denmark here in Højbjerg, Denmark, and that's really the typesetting here. So this whole block and the Milo font. In the case of the wide margin, it's a 9.5 Milo font as opposed to the let me just move this here, as opposed again, I'll just kind of to the 11-point Milo font that the original Canterbury has or contains. Now, apologize for the lighting in that. Okay, you see a lot of the same things here. Yeah. So, yeah, so much like the original Canterbury, on our wide margin here is the epistle, rather, let's go back. The epistle dedicatory and the translators to the readers. So we have the epistle dedicatory right here. And we've got the translators to the readers. It's a nice feature, an option. I kind of like that. It's not necessary, but I like it. All right, now we go through. Now I might add, the original Canterbury right here is a 36 GSM. I find it, it's almost like there's a little bit of slight sheen on it, whereas here this is a 38 GSM, so it's a tad thicker. The original Canterbury. It's designed for writing on, obviously, but it's not as thick as the R.L. Allen wide margin Clarendon, or rather Clarendon wide margin Bible that I have over here, which is a 45 GSM, and that is the thickest Bible paper that I know of right now on the market. But this is still very good. I think Cambridge doesn't really advertise what it is, but I think it's probably around a 38 GSM. So here we go. Now we look at the text here. So we're going to look at the text. So we got chapter headings are in the kind of a deep, dark red, almost like crimson, I guess. You got the drop-down art caps. Is it art? Let's see what it says here. Well, the drop-down caps, anyway. Or ornamental, they refer to as ornamental drop-down caps. I do apologize for that. Again, this 9.5 Milo font. It's not bold yet. I find it, I find it very readable though. And with the wide margin, they decided to do away with the self-pronouncing text. Which is I like. There's no clutter in the text, and like the Canterbury, you have at the bottom of the page you have the references. There are 55,000 references, or cross references rather. All right. You can see single column, verse by verse. Right here. Let's get a little bit closer here. Or let me just move that. Oops, no. Let me move back a little bit there. See? So a little bit around. So you can see a little. Instead of having like headings at the top, they have headings within. And I like that actually. I mean, for me, again, this is subjective, but I do like it. Just bear with me, and I'll just kind of give you a little bit of a comparison here. I'll bring my, here's my RLL in Clarendon, and you get a little bit of a comparison here. So the text is a little bit, slightly larger. Can you see it? Let me see. Let me see there. Can you see it? I don't know. Maybe go back a little bit. Let's see. I'll try to give you a little bit of a comparison there. Let's go to this. Let's go to the same section. Genesis chapter 2. here. Yeah, art gilt edging, art gilt edging, red under, in this case, red under gold. And the antique marble. Let's go. I'm sorry about that. It's going a bit slow here. See, the RLL does not have the epistle, or has the epistle dedicatory, but does not have the translators to the reader. So we go to Genesis 2 here. Let's try and keep it somewhat in the same area. You can kind of tell. Look at the difference here. Let's see if you can tell what's more readable. I don't know. I'm just trying to make. Let's see if I can. I'm doing with this my phone here. All right. So here we go. Let's just move my light. And that obviously it doesn't do it justice. Let's move that a little bit down there so you can tell. See here. There you go. This is an 8-point Clarendon font. It is bold. Some may say the bold is a little bit more readable. I don't know. I kind of like this too, though. Again, that's subjective, right? I mean, yeah. So here. Definitely prettier, but this is nice too. This has wider margins, I think. Yeah. So the margins here. What is? So the top here, as you see, is well, Schyuler specifies at the 25 millimeters, and that's just under an inch, 1.98 inches. The outer is 0.35, if I'm not mistaken, 0.35 mm. Oh, sorry, 35 millimeters. Which works out approximately 1.37, I believe. 1.38. My little calculator there was 1.38 inches. So about an inch and a third. The inner is 33 millimeters, just slightly less, but definitely writable in there. Definitely writable here, and that's 1.3 inches. And the bottom here. Now it looks a little bit more generous. I'm wondering because some pages may have, let me see, no, you may have more references, so therefore they say the bottom is 31 mm or 1.2. I think there's a bit more than that there. But then again, maybe because, the bottom of the page with the Schyuler, with the Schyuler Canterbury, all the references or cross-references are at the bottom. So a little letter here that will signify. In the one way, I kind of like that. I mean, if they did away with the cross-references, all the better in some cases, because sometimes it can be very biased. I mean, I know people that specifically, they will not read a Bible with cross-references. They don't want any help, and I can understand that. Anyway, so as you see it side by side, there. And again, I'm just going to go back here. Just want to give you a little bit of a comparison here with the RLL. And so here's a little bit. Let me just go back here. Let's push it back here. Zoom out a little bit. You can see the difference. Look at that, eh? So significantly bigger, actually. Okay, you pop that on top. Yeah, you can see that. RLL says it's a generous yap, but let's take a look at the yap here. If you can see it. Yeah, it is a little bit more. It's a little bit more give in that yap. But still, it's beautiful. Let's see if I can do that. See, we still got a little bit of overhang. It's a semi-yap. This is obviously by RLL, and it is advertised as a general or a generous yap. Both are beautiful. Let's go through it here. So again, this is chapter headings are a deep red. They have the ornamental drop down caps. It's about how can you say that? It's probably 3/4 of an inch, really. Perhaps. You can see here headings. Instead of having headings at the top that Oxford and Cambridge Bibles have, they're within the text here, and I kind of like that. I don't mind it, personally. So let's go through. But here, Now we're going to go to the Psalms here. Now they're single column and verse by verse for the Psalms. And I like this. This is what's unique to Schyuler. You might like him, keeping in the same vein with the original Canterbury, that once you get to the Psalms, it's single column, verse by verse. Let's go there. See? Let's move a little bit closer. Yeah, single column, verse by verse. Let's zoom out again. Go through it. All right, you can see a nice. Yeah, let me see. Well, you know what? I've heard people say that the Schyuler, the red on the Schyuler. Let me just compare it now to my. Let's see. Let's compare it. Yeah. I suppose it's a slightly deeper red here, so it's not as deep. You know, this is my RLL, and this is the Schyuler right here. See my name. I like to get my name on there. Yeah, definitely I think it's a nicer goat skin. Although they're both beautiful. They're just both gorgeous Bibles. Gorgeous. Yeah, it's definitely not as deep as, let me see if I can get that little, let's do it like this. Let me just close this up and we'll go right back into it again. Yeah, I want to kind of, or at least get a comparison so you can see. Yeah. Let's see there. Yeah, I don't know, maybe you can't tell, but definitely, well, I don't know. Let's see there. Yeah, it's a deeper red. Anyway, it's quite, I think the RLL is slightly deeper. I don't think the camera does it justice, really. All right. There's italics for supplied words. Okay, let's go here. Italics. Let's go to verse 28 here. So italics for supplied words. You can see there where. And of course, so this is, with the supplied words in the King James Bible, obviously it's a literal word-for-word translation. And I might add it's a King James only. I believe really this is God's both inspired and preserved word in the English language. So here, when you have obviously these, where words are italicized, and you can see here it is iniquity, and then you've got to be punished. It's italicized. These really, when the King James Bible translated the King James Bible, obviously, in the English language, it's really their honesty and really maintaining fidelity. So, it's basically saying in this case, there's the Hebrew text didn't say to be punished, but in order to give a context, and yes, the King James Bible is a literal word-for-word translation, but where, where words had to be supplied, that, in other words, that were not obviously in the Hebrew or the Greek, for that matter. The King James Bible used italicized words, and I guess that's really being honest in a sense. All right, and you can see here, there's very minimal ghosting. There's line matching. The line matching basically, on this page, you go over, you're not going to have. Over here you'll see it because there's nothing here, but you can see everything is line matched. You see it from the previous page here, and then you got, see obviously there's no text here, so you can see the ghosting, but over here there's line matching. And to me it's not really not a huge issue. That there's 55, see the cross-references are at the bottom, so there's 55,000 cross-references, much like the original Canterbury. All right, so let's move on now. Let's move on. Yeah, lots of room here to take notes, so we're in the New Testament here. Now, it's a little bit different. As you see, this is a red letter edition. I'm not a fan necessarily of red letter, but I'll be willing to handle this. You know, and the red is quite deep. It's not a light red, it's a deep red. You know, it's not overly intrusive. It's kind of very similar to the verse. You know, every verse is in red. And you can see here, you know, the verse is in red, but then the red letter edition. No, this Canterbury here, the original Canterbury is not red. It's not. But then again, you know, I can. And here, maybe I'll give you a little bit of a. See, there's the 11-point Milo versus the 9.5, so it's slightly smaller. But that's, you know, that's what happens when it's kind of like the Cambridge Concord. My wife just has a hand, I believe the pocket size, if I'm not mistaken, or no, it's a hand size. And I've got the wide margin, but my wide margin, the text is slightly smaller. I'm gonna move on now. So there you go. New Testament. Switch over here. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, no, I believe this is based. No, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's based on the pure Cambridge edition of 1900. Don't quote me this, and I do know of, you know, or certainly I've heard of some, and know of some people that will only read a pure Cambridge edition. I'll give you a little bit of an idea here, or a little bit of an example, for instance, on that. Go to Ezekiel. We'll go to Ezekiel 47, for instance, here. Let me go here. Look at the word here. I want to see here. You see in the Bible says there, see, when the man that had the line in his hand went forth eastward, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he brought me through the waters. The waters were to the ankles. See, the waters were to the ankles. Now, actually, I'm not going to get this one. Let's compare that. Now, here's my RLL, and you know what, I have to say that I like these ribbons are thicker than the RLL, and I like the RLL. All right, so let's compare that here, and this is an Oxford. This is the Oxford text. All right, so you see ankles in the Schyuler here, spelled with a C. It's more archaic. It's older, right? I hate to use the term archaic because it's still modern English. Now, I'm going to move over. I want to just kind of give you a little bit of a comparison here. Here, Ezekiel 47, verse 3. See here? Ankles with a K. Not a big deal, but you could see that there was a change there. Now, where else? I think here. Let's see. I have to. There's other areas. Okay, let's go back. Let's go here. I think it's 1 John 5:4, no, or 4:5. Or is it 4:5? No, it's not okay. So I think it's 5:4. Spirit, the water, and the blood. Let me just see 5. That's 5:7, 4:5:8. Let me just go over here. Yeah, probably should prepare a little bit better for that. I'll give you a little bit. There was one area I knew that. Okay, let's go here. 5:8. Yeah, there it is. See here, it's based so with here, and there are 3 that bear witness in the earth: the spirit and the water and the blood, and these 3 agree in one. This is the pure, based on the pure Cambridge edition. Here you see 5:8. So these are things, right? And here, 5/8 S, the Spirit is capitalized. Right there, it's capitalized. Let's go and get now more recent. Now here's my, about 7 years ago, my Cambridge Concord. Let me just go back a little bit. Alright, and I'm going to kind of, here, I'll show you again in Ezekiel here, might as well, while we're there. So this is Cambridge, changed it, they updated it. And Cambridge here, 47, see, ankles, K. There we go, okay. There, it's a little bit easier for you. Now let's go. First John 5:8. There's other first. I just want to give you a little bit of a. Okay, let's opa. Okay, here. So First John 5:8. Yep. Yeah, it's capitalized here. So the pure Cambridge edition is not capitalized. So there's a few things. There's a few areas where you'd see Spirit capitalized and where it's not capitalized. And I know some that won't use anything other than the pure Cambridge edition. And some of the publishers today, the modern day publishers, have taken liberty with the King James Bible text to alter it very subtly. So we got to be careful. So let's move on. So we're about 30 minutes now into it. All right. So now we're going to move over to the end here. Move over. There we go. All right. Here we are. I've got the King's English glossary of terms. Here's a glossary. All right. We'll take a look at it. Okay. Here. Nope. We'll glossary. I do apologize. I'm kind of holding this, holding my cell phone while I'm going over this for you. All right. And then a glossary, then you've got a concordance. Here it is, there's your concordance. Give you a little bit of idea. Now I'll be honest with you, I don't use a concordance in my Bibles, you know, with all the modern technology now, and even my cell phone, I've got a My Sword app. Do a search for anything really. You know, whether, you know, obviously certainly, you know, and they've got Logos and Word Search, Bible software and others. I mean, there's really no need for this, but it's still lovely anyway. It's still beautiful. Mostly nice to have, but I don't use it. I don't think I've ever referenced this, even in my Cambridge or, yeah. Moving on. Okay. Now here, we're going to get now to the next section here. Let me just get through here. I do apologize again. Alright, so I do apologize. Now here, now this is the section I want to, a few blank pages they give you, but look at this. This is where this is really where I think Schyuler hit a home run here. Now we got line paper. There's about 20 odd pages of line paper in the back. Doesn't tell us, but I guess I can count it, but I haven't. Before we get to them. And the lined paper is not your typical Bible paper. It's thicker. It's thicker. It's like a journal paper. You know, like one of the high-end journals. I think Schyuler does make their journals. I don't have one. I don't possess one. I'm assuming it probably contains this kind of paper, but look at that. Beautiful. You can take notes on here. Prayer requests, sermon outlines. I do that. Now, this is really a big advantage over the Schyuler Canterbury, the original Schyuler. It's kind of, you see here, I want to show you something. They have no paper here, and obviously you can see I've used it, taking prayer requests, kind of a few outlines over here, or an outline. But here, what I don't like is it's just the same as the regular Bible paper. But this is the 36 GSM. It's very shiny. Sometimes I've had issues with actually writing on it. And after a while, because you reference it a lot, it curls up a lot down here. You can see it curls. I don't believe this is going to happen with this, as the Bible's actual lined paper that you would find in Cambridge or the RLL. And I'll show you my Cambridge here. Yeah, look at that. They give you a lot too. Look at this. Yeah, is it thicker? Yeah, no, it's about the same thickness. Some sermon outlines in there as well. It's a good place to do them. Yeah, wow. Wow. So this is obviously the Cambridge wide margin. So this is a home run. I like this. You get some lined paper in the back, and it's not like the just regular Bible paper that the old or the original Canterbury has. And I like that. That was one of my black marks on the Canterbury. To be honest with you, I think that the lined paper is useless when it's on regular Bible paper, especially when you're writing on it and you're really referencing it more often. You know, say if you're putting prayer requests, you're probably going through it more often on a regular basis, perhaps even a daily basis. And yeah, it just curls at the bottom. I don't think this will happen. And mind you, this is a thicker paper to begin with. It's a 38 GSM, I might add. Very opaque. Now we've got here the Bible maps here by Schyuler. You know, Schyuler Byron is exclusive to Schyuler. We've got the table of contents here, the world of the patriarchs, and all the way through. You've got 12 of them. But what I do like, and I think this is exclusive. Well, at least it's exclusive to. I like this. I'm gonna let me just take away the. Let me see. Here, let me go here. I like here. This is a chart. Israel and divided kingdoms. And you got the dates of Saul, David, 40 years, 40 years, 40 years. Then you got the kings, the prophets, contemporary prophets all down here. It's really, I love this page here. This is awesome. Awesome. You know, you got your Bible maps here. See ministry of Jesus, apostles, earthly ministry here. Got Jerusalem. I hate the term the Passion of the Christ. Really sounds very Roman Catholic-y to me. But I mean, I can put up with that. Here, missionary journeys of Paul. You know, got 3 of them. And you got the Roman Empire and early Christianity right there. And so there's 12 maps. Here's an index to the maps here. So look at that. And that's it. There you go. There's the end. There's your Bible. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. So we'll kind of back it up. Yeah. Let's just compare it. You know, I'm going to compare a few of them. So we're going to put the slate, because I only have it in slate, and obviously I'm taking marble brown. It's expensive. I spent a lot of money on it. So I'm going to compare. So here I'm going to compare my, which I only have the Canterbury in Imperial Blue there. So let's get rid of that. Got some marks, so let's get rid of that so you can see. Yeah. Now this is marked up, obviously, but I haven't written a lot in that. I just marked it up just more for. I might give that to one of my sons. I got five young lads and a daughter. My daughter's the youngest. So here's a Canterbury. Then you've got your 2 wide margins, Canterbury by Schyuler. Here's your RLL rather. Here's a goatskin Cambridge with no yap, no hangover, but still good. And cheap ribbons. Oh, I hated that. But it's got other things I can have. There's the text, by the way, if you want to look at it. There we are. There, so we go back up a little bit. And that's it. So here we go. Your Schyuler rather, wide margin Canterbury, RT marble, and slate here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Bible. So now actually I want to show you the box before I go. So here, let's close these up. Well, maybe by the way, before I do that, each Bible inside comes with this little insert here, Schyuler Bibles, and it says, actually, you know what, let me go over it. Here, congratulations on the purchase of this heirloom Bible. And it goes on, tells you that they're handcrafted. Actually, before, you know what, I didn't get to that part. You know, see, I'm just kind of winging this right now. So here, I went over some of it. So there you go. So your Schyuler Bibles here. Before I close off on this, actually. So in my antique marble here, you've got the gold, green, and kind of a purple ribbons. They are Smithsonian. So Smithsonian, they're really meant to last a lifetime. But I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. kind of in here, my slate 3 red ribbons. See, there you go. So I'm going to show you that. Raised hubs, by the way, in case well, I'm a fan of raised hubs. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 raised hubs. Same thing here. There you go, raised hubs. And that's hopefully, I think I've covered everything there. So there you go. There's a Schyuler Canterbury wide margin. Take care. Have a good day.